Oh, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to look at the High Seas Treaty, which was approved on either the 4th or the 5th of March 2023, and Trumpet number 2 and Bowl number 2. So the High Seas Treaty is to protect 30% of the ocean, which isn't owned by anybody. Hold on a minute. The UN just signed a treaty to protect 30% of the ocean, which isn't owned by any country. 30%? Are you kidding? Like, why not protect 100%? No, we're only going to protect 30% because the calculations show that 30% of mining is okay. It's not going to kill everything. Well, the Bible has something to say about this and has warned us for the last 1900 odd years or 900 years, if you want to discount 1,000, whatever, which way you want to look at it. So the High Seas Treaty is supposed to protect our oceans, but only 30% of it. You're joking. So we got 100% of ocean, and we're going to mine up to 70% of it. Blow up the volcanoes, as in the other Trumpet videos I've done, and Tonga the 15th and the 16th of May, I think it was, had 2 explosions, one on each day, circular, concentric circles, and has highlighted by Daniel Alexander and the Cannon, ex-military, these bombs that went off, the glow in the cloud showed that it was not a volcanic eruption. And then Australia sent their ship over there, and all the muck in the ocean damaged their engines. They had to stay there an extra month or so for fixing up their engines. Excuse me. So anyway, the High Seas Treaty. So you could say they've already started to prepare, because there's other evidence of other undersea volcanoes and above ground volcanoes explosion with electromagnetic craft. Excuse me. And so you could say it was already started, but deep sea mining officially starts in 2025 with the countries Nauru, Tonga, and Guam backing it. And so what's happened is the companies come along, they've said, oh, we've got the money. You countries haven't got the money anymore because we've already taken your resources, like Nauru. We've already taken your resources, so we'll organise everything for you, get all the complete licenses for you, and we're going to give you some of our profits. Sounds a bit like trickle-down economics, where you give the big people all the money and the little person gets nothing. And that's what they basically said to these countries. So they signed up, and now a company is ready to start mining as of 2025 when it's allowed to begin. Deep sea mining. So this deep sea mining, as you will see in one graphic, your boat or your yacht is going to be devalued. Let us move on and see why. Trumpet number 2. We'll go over the scriptures first so that you know what John's seen in these visions. And the second angel sounded. So sounded means laws are made, things are done over a period of time, decades or longer. So that, documentation is made, both in written documentation and on video these days as well. So you can see these events accumulating. It isn't just okay, bang, this happens. No, it's an accumulation. It's humans building up to the climax. And so the second angel sounded. Well, with the High Seas Treaty Agreement as of 4th or 5th of March 2023, and then the note just got a bit louder, or a bit higher, a bit stronger. And as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea. It became blood. So blowing up the undersea volcanoes to help with the mining effort helps make the sea blood. Bowl. Okay, so the first bowl, the first angel poured out his bowl upon the people, or upon the earth, and fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the people who had the mark of the beast. So trumpet number 2 leads up to, build up to the bowls. And so we're now in the time, the bowls are in the time of the mark of the beast. The beast being the medical, military, financial, industrial complex that controls everything and brings in all the laws. So the second angel poured out his vial or bowl upon the sea, and it became blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. So if you look up the red Antarctic glacier, you'll see blood coming out of it's red like blood out of that dead giant down there. And so you got dead giants all over the place getting blown up under the sea, and it will become blood. But it will also become blood from the 2 million different species in the sea that are going to be killed. Every living soul in the sea died, and it starts in 2025, and will take time to spread, but every living soul, every whale, every shark, every fish, crabs, jellyfish, whatever, 2 million species. That's according to man's count. Could be a lot more than that. Will die. So you're going to take your boat out in that? You're going to take your boat out in the Pacific once they start? And yes, they're not allowed to do any mining 350 kilometers close. They're not allowed to do any mining within a range of 350 kilometers of the coastline. Well, that's so you don't see it. You don't see it, but you sure are going to feel the effects of it. Ever heard of sea currents? We move on. The High Seas Treaty, historic deal to protect international waters, finally reached at UN. Can you believe this rubbish? Protect international waters? No, what they've done is they put a criteria on the mining companies saying you can't go closer than 350 kilometers of land, and you can only do it in certain areas, which is about 70% of the ocean. 70% of the ocean. And it took them a decade to declare, oh, we won't mine 30% of the ocean. We'll just mine the 70%. What a joke. UN, United Nations, United National Disasters. That's what they are. It's a whole world disaster. As all the fish in the sea will die, and it starts as of 2025, let alone what they've already killed with the Tonga explosion, etc. So let's move on. Okay, so here's a picture of the machine, one of the machines. There's all different types of machines. Some of them are much more aggressive than this one. You can see it runs on tractor, tank tracks. I mean, it's a massive machine. It's wider than a tank, or can be. And what it does at the front, it sucks up the top few inches, up to about 6 inches. On this type of machine, there's other machines that are much more aggressive. Sucks up the top 6 inches and collects all these nodules. So here we are, we have a ship that's out at sea, further than 350 kilometers, so you're probably never going to see one of these. And it puts down this machine, drops it between 4,000 and 5,000 meters down. So 4 to 5 kilometers down it goes, and it just goes along the seabed. Now, if the seabed isn't that low, then on top of the hills in the seabed, they'll just have like a garbage truck type of situation where it'll just suck it up at the top of the mountain and pump out the plume. So that makes sure we'll get all the fish, near the surface. But the ones that are deep down will be 4,000 to 5,000 meters. And what they're going to do is they're going to suck up pieces of metal. The metal contains cobalt, zinc, gold, silver, and other things made for lithium batteries. So we're going to mine the ocean floor just for lithium batteries. Why not just go back to seawater batteries in the 1800s, mid 1800s? We had cars with seawater batteries. No, that's not good enough. So we're going to suck up the bottom of the ocean. We're going to move that stuff halfway up, and that sound signal there means, they're going to make a process there, and in one diagram it shows that they're going to pump out some of their wastes there, and then pump it up to the ship. The ship processes it, the ore, separates the nodules from all the living animals that were in the seabed floor, kills them obviously if they're not already dead by that time, pumps them back out. It splits up the nodules into tiny little, half an inch, half a centimetre size. So it breaks them down so they can fit more on the ship. And then they pump out the plume. And the plume here shows that they'll pump it back out 1 kilometre down. Another graphic shows 2 kilometres down. And isn't this a nice picture? We're collecting the plume in between two mountains, so it gives you the impression that it's not going to move. Well, there's fantastic water currents, very fast water currents underneath and between mountains in the sea. And do you think that water plume is going to stay in one spot? Do you think that's just going to stay where the boat is? No, of course not. It's going to spread everywhere like a cloud. Like when they make the clouds spread everywhere. You can just see that with electricity power plant. They use the steam. They pump the steam out. What's the steam do? Go into clouds and move across the land. So this operation is starting in 2025, apparently, for coal boats and zinc and other things, and will pollute the sea. Now, if you drink dirty water, what happens to you? And the fish are expected to drink dirty water? Individuals. Potential effects: respiratory distress, auditory distress, reduced feeding, reduced visual communication, buoyancy issues, toxicity. They're talking about the issues there for the fish, I believe, not just us. Ecosystems: fishery, seafood contamination, carbon transport, biodiversity. I mean, this is why they drained and they created the droughts, like in Australia. They created a 20-year drought so that the rivers would all dry up, which they did mostly. And then, we better save some of these fish, some of the Murray cod, the good ones, the ones that, live at 70, 80, 100 years. And so they collected them up and took them to a fish farm funded by Macquarie Bank. Oh, that's right. There's all the financial action. And now that company can now reproduce Murray cod, sell it to the markets at a much more expensive price than what we could fish for it for free. Inflation. Theft. That's what it is. Theft. Anyway, let's move on. So you can see here that the deep sea mining that starts in 2025 is going to pollute our oceans. At first, your boat won't feel any devaluation in value, but eventually it will, because who wants to go on an ocean that is a tailings pond? So here we are with the nodules, which are full of cobalt, copper, and other things, and this machine just sucks them up. Sucks them up. Obviously, that's an illustration. Sucks them up and gets rid of them. But let's go and have a look at tailings dams. Well, yeah, that's what a blood red tailings dam looks like. I've been to one of these in the Limpet Dam, South Australia. Mate, they stink. That is awful. Absolutely awful. But this is what they're going to turn the sea into. A horrible red tailings dam. Sea to be a tailings dam? The whole sea? All the 7 seas? All around the world? the Atlantic, the Pacific, of course, the Indian, and all the other seas will become a tailings dam. Why? Because they're going to suck it up, spit it back out. If they suck it up from 5,000 meters down, why can't they pump it back down to 4,750 meters? No, they're going to only pump it down 1,000 meters or 2,000 meters, and then it will spread. And of course, kill all the fish. And when they do the explosions to blow up the underwater volcanoes, from the dead giants that are down there from Noah's flood, just like the dead giants that we walk on and drive on today and build on, red blood will be released because of the water mixing with the dried out blood, becomes blood again, and it's released, and the sea is made blood. So that's a summary. Graham produces, and Barry just does the voiceover voluntarily. Thank you very much. Bye. Bye for now. More on these subjects as we get closer. And check out Graham's book website, padreaustralia.com, padreaustralia.com. That's PADRE Australia.com. And you can download his books and the 7 Trumpets book, which goes into different aspects of destroying China's navy and destroying the kings of the East, so that they can then have an evil thought and go and destroy Russia. And that's when God says, that's enough, I've had enough. So anyway, thank you very much for listening. Bye for now.